Good evening.
but I don't know.
I now call to order the regular town board meeting for February 2018 of the town board. I'm going to ask everyone to rise, and we're going to have local Boy Scouts present the colors and then lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Scouts?
Salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please post the colors. Color guard dismissed.
You may be seated. Good evening. We have a modest agenda of regular town business, but we have some special pre-meeting presentations and ceremonies, which I'm excited to get to. We also have a public hearing scheduled for 6:35 on a proposed local law. We will try and start that as close to 7:35, as possible. I'd like to thank our local scouts from Troop 133 and Troop 220, Timothy Pollard, James Pollard, Devin Morey, Matthew Krisda, Tommy Castellone, Stephen Patchett, and Luke Chalone, and Scout leader Mr. Pollard as well. A lot of our Boy Scouts are getting their citizenship merit badge, so thankfully for me that involves them spending some time here at Town Hall, and I've had some Scouts pop in unannounced, but always welcome, and they always have very good questions for me. Actually, some very good questions asked out in the hall about some current events, so I was very impressed. And either way, thank you for being here. It's always nice when we have that nice special presentation before the meeting. A few just announcements on my end. Our reassessment, our 10-year reassessment is in full swing. It's our first in roughly a decade. Homeowners should be getting in the next few days their impact notices that indicates any increase or decrease in assessed value. As always, I tell people our assessor's office is happy to answer any questions. You can call them at 336-6055, email them at assessorsoffice@aronicoit.org, or visit our friendly staff here at the first floor of Town Hall. And after the impact notices, there'll be a period of weeks where informal hearings will take place and then the normal grievance process. So we certainly welcome feedback if residents feel it is warranted. Also, in our assessor's office, the annual deadline, the March 1st deadline for certain tax exemptions, most particularly our limited income senior exemption, that March 1st deadline is crucial. It's governed by state law, and it affords us very little leeway to look back and exempt folks if they don't meet that March 1st deadline. So again, call our assessor's office with any questions. We were excited recently to get word from NYSERDA, the State Energy Development Authority, that the town will receive upwards of $250,000 for clean energy projects as a result to us being one of the first towns in the state to be certified in the Clean Energy Communities program. This will result in solar panels being installed atop our public safety building, as well as our new Department of Public Works facility, which is very exciting. Most of that is borne by the state. Almost all that cost is borne by the state, and will significantly reduce our energy consumption and our energy costs long term. So it's a win-win-win-win-win for us. I'd like to thank everyone in the community who came to Winterfest a few weeks ago. It was, I think, our most well-attended ever, and it proves that just because it's Winterfest, you don't need snow or necessarily freezing weather. And I think we had our highest turnout ever, and it was a wonderful event. And all the staff and vendors who helped make it possible. It really involves months of planning, so I'm very grateful to them, but most of all grateful for all the families who made the trip out last month. Our community center public engagement period is continuing. We will have a community update on Wednesday, February 28th at 7 p.m. at Bishop Kearney High School. This will allow people to give an update on our public input for the past several weeks, as well as some initial findings by our ad hoc committee that I appointed. So we look forward to seeing people there and hearing feedback and continuing the conversation. Also, for our senior residents, mark your calendars. Our second senior exposition will be held April 19th at the St. Cecilia's Parish Community Center on Culver Road. This is a number of vendors, non-for-profit, human services, and free giveaways, mostly for our seniors. And we had a great initial event last year, and we hope to see folks there in April. The annual Irondequoit Kiwanis Annual Chili Cook-Off will be held this weekend, Saturday, February 24th at the Point Pleasant Firehouse from 5 to 8 p.m. To sign up, please email chiliCookoff@kiwanis.org. The cost is $7 per adult. It's well worth it. Kids under 10 eat for free. We had a very nice groundbreaking at the new future Durand Senior Apartment Development on Culver Road. This project will include 70 quality affordable homes for residents over 55 and will be the home of St. Anne's Adult Day Service at Durand, providing medical and social adult daycare services. This was made possible through assistance from the state, and it was a long time planning, and it's terrific to see those properties reused to fill really an eminent town need. And one last announcement: the board collectively decided to partner with the Golisano Foundation and Bishop Kearney High School to join a campaign that has grown over the years. It's a campaign to end what's referred to as the R word in our society. We felt it strong enough to pass a resolution declaring that so, and we'll be doing a public engagement period where we are asking for folks in the community to sign that pledge as well. You can visit rword.com or the town website for a link to how to sign that pledge. And just before we move forward, I just want to take an informal adoption of that resolution from the board. So do I have a motion to advance that proclamation?
Moved.
A second?
Second.
And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, board members. That proclamation is adopted. And with that, I am now going to ask the board members to join me at the podium, and we have a few very special presentations to start our meeting off. What we'll do is it's going to vary a little bit from the agenda, so if you're looking at your agenda, it'll actually be the proclamation honoring Coach. The police officer teachers first, Coach Nolan and Manny second, and then our swearing in third. So diverting a little bit from the agenda. So board members, please join me. I know I look very well organized up there, but if you could only imagine what it looked like behind that, a mess of papers, so excuse me. Our first presentation of a proclamation, I'd like to ask the participants of the recent charity basketball game to join me up at the podium, both police officers and teachers alike. Don't be shy, officers. You don't all have to come. I need at least one. Thank you. So we're a town that's rooted in traditions, some very, very old, some that are younger. I use the chili cook-off with Kiwanis as an example of a younger one that's kind of become cemented into our annual kind of just how our town functions. They're all for good causes. But it's always good when new traditions are starting that I hope will have some staying power. It adds to the many wonderful things that so many citizens and stakeholders do for this great community. At some point over the past few months, the men and the women of the Irondequoit Police Department and the teachers of East Irondequoit School District had a great idea. They decided to provide the people of Irondequoit the entertainment value of watching a basketball game, certainly not featuring NBA stars, but two of our most important members of the bedrock of this community, our law enforcement and our teachers. The game was held on February 3rd, 2018 at Eastridge High School. The Irondequoit Police Department, I believe, won a very hard-fought and close game. I did not play. I was invited to, but did not. But I do take entire credit for the victory as I helped the police practice. I'm partially responsible for Captain Bean's 30-foot line drive basket as the shot clock expired. I am not responsible for Chief Tantilla's purple hair, however. But the real winner was the Irondequoit Community Cupboard. Because as a result of this game, I believe at last count over $3,200 was raised for the community cupboard through this game. And if anyone knows a thing, one thing about the community cupboard is they will put that money to such good use. They're such an important part of our community, whether it's ensuring people have meals throughout the year and the pantry stocked, or that kids going home on the weekend from school have a backpack stocked with nutritional food. So that's money that I know Debbie Evans, I'm not speaking on her behalf, she's actually sick, she's the president of the cupboard. She couldn't be more thrilled and just touched by the gesture. So we have a proclamation to present to our police department and our teachers. We are joined by two members of the East Irondequoit Teachers Association, who I will ask to say a few words, and then I'll ask a representative from the police department as well, if they so desire. But I'll read the truncated version. Whereas a great community is only as great as those individuals and organizations that perform exemplary service on behalf of their community, whether through academic or professional endeavors or simply through a lifetime of good citizenship. Whereas the East Irondequoit Teachers Association, in conjunction with the Irondequoit Police Department, should be commended for their exemplary display of positive community engagement through the impressive achievement of raising over $3,200 at a charity basketball game held on February 3rd, 2018. Whereas this charity event serves as evidence of what can be done by a committed and active community of individuals and organizations willing to work together to selflessly improve the place in which they live. And whereas the event is a tremendous display of how a community can come together for a good cause, with multiple local organizations participating to raise funds for the Irondequoit Community Cupboard. Therefore, let it be resolved that we, Supervisor David A. Seeley, and the town board, on behalf of the entire town of Irondequoit, do hereby commend the East Irondequoit Teachers Association and the Irondequoit Police Department for their efforts to give back to their community and shine a bright light on the town of Irondequoit. So ordered on this date, the 20th of February, 2018. So on behalf of the town board, thank you very much. It was a terrific gesture, and please give them a round of applause.
Thank you. My name is Sharon Gass, and I'm first vice president of the East Irondequoit Teachers Association. And Jen Costello, the secretary, is with me also. And we would just like to thank the Irondequoit Police Department. It was a wonderful event. There were many people who were there supporting us, and we had lots of raffle tickets and baskets that helped us reach to actually succeed in reaching our goal and going beyond our goal. Our goal was $2,000, and like you heard, we raised over $3,200. So this was our first attempt at something like this. We wanted to get a whole bunch of people involved, and it seemed like it was a success. So thank you very much.
Of course, thank you. Chief?
Well, thank you very much. I certainly wanted to have one of the official players speak tonight, but they all deferred to me. I'm not quite sure if they're camera shy. But needless to say, I want to thank the teachers for coming up with this proposal and this project that really enhances our quality of life in the community that we live in, we work in, and that we really care a great deal about. So kudos to you and your entire staff at East Irondequoit Schools. I take a little bit of pride in that because I'm a graduate of Eastridge High School, so it was kind of finally nice to be on the varsity basketball court because I could never get anywhere near it as a student. And I also want to thank the officers. Obviously, we fielded a team of about 12 players, and this is just a small sample of those folks who took the time out of their busy schedules to practice, prepare for the game, take away from their Saturday night with their families, although many of them did attend, to really be part of something that was energized and very positive, and very happy that we were a part of it, besides the fact that we won. But maybe there'll be a rematch next year. But thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Now, I would now invite the boxers, the representatives of the Rochester Fight Factory to come up and join me for our next presentation. I'll let Coach quarterback that as to who comes up, and so this is different in nature, but also a way to infuse a great sense of community pride, and especially now as we're in the middle of our Winter Olympics. It's not often that you have someone in your town whose end goal is to be an Olympic boxer, but not only is that Angel Manny Gonzalez's goal, he's actually well on his way in that trajectory to becoming an Olympic boxer in 2020. Manny lives in Irondequoit. He's 14 years old. He goes to East Irondequoit School. He is recently ranked the #1 boxer for his age division in the United States by the USA Boxing Association. In 2017 and 2018, he's the National Silver Gloves champion, and he recently won the title for the second time, February 3rd, 2018 in Kansas City. And again, Manny's ultimate goal is to win the gold medal for the U.S. Olympic team at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. His coach, this gentleman right here, is T.J. Nolan, another Irondequoit resident who lives on Maplehurst Road. Mr. Nolan served in the U.S. Army from 2004 to 2028 as an infantry sergeant in Iraq. He is the coach and co-owner of Rochester Fight Factory, and you see those awesome red jumpsuits, which I want one. I don't think they come in my size, but I want one nonetheless. The gym is located on Lincoln Avenue and has become the preeminent training facility for the Rochester area's amateur youth and local boxing. Besides coaching, Manny, TJ, and his Fight Factory team were successful at the 2018 National Silver Gloves with 3 other champions from the Rochester area. Just a word about the importance of people like Coach Nolan. I was involved in an effort to help legalize mixed martial art through my old profession in the state assembly. My employer, Joe Morelli, carried that legislation, and the importance of the lessons and the discipline that it teaches young men like this. It's so important to have outlets for our kids today to do this, and whether it's boxing, whether it's anything, but you really learn discipline and stick-to-itness, and boxing is not an easy sport, and it's glamorous, and you got the bling right, but you earn the right to have those belts and that bling because it's not easy, but the life lessons you learn, I think you'll carry with you your whole life. So to have a role model like Coach Nolan, I think you guys probably all look up to him, and it's very special that he provides that opportunity for you all. So we are going to present another proclamation, this to both Manny and TJ, Coach Nolan, and then I'm going to ask Coach, and if Manny wants you to say a few words. I asked him what his nickname was, and he told me, and I said, you always have to have your hometown and your nickname, but I can imagine a ring announcer trying to pronounce Irondequoit, so you might get a pass, Manny, okay? But yes, I'll read the truncated. Whereas Angel Manny Gonzalez, at only 14 years of age, has already distinguished himself as an accomplished boxer with a promising future, having just won his second consecutive National Silver Gloves Championship in Kansas City on February 3rd, 2018. Whereas Manny, a local resident and student in the East Irondequoit School District, is well on his way to achieving his dream of representing his country and community in the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, Japan, having just attained the #1 ranking from USA Boxing for his age division with a record of 23 wins and only 6 losses. And whereas Manny's coach and co-owner of Rochester Fight Factory, where Manny and several other promising local combat athletes train, TJ Nolan is a proud resident of Irondequoit and an Iraq War veteran who continues to serve his community through his work of training and supporting the ambitions of local athletes. And whereas the town of Irondequoit is proud to recognize the accomplishments and support the dreams of such dedicated individuals, now, therefore, let it be resolved that we, Supervisor David A. Seeley and the Town Board, on behalf of the entire town of Irondequoit, do hereby congratulate Manny Gonzalez and TJ Nolan for their impressive accomplishments to date and wish them well in the future as they pursue their ultimate goal of an Olympic medal, so ordered on this day, the 20th of February, 2018. Please join me in giving a round of applause for all these young men. It's not a belt, I'm sorry. We couldn't have a belt made on such short notice, but Coach.
First off, I want to thank the town of Arundecoy for having us, accepting us in, and presenting us with this award. Secondly, I'd be a fool to accept this by myself. There's a couple people that I want to thank for helping me get highlighted with this thing here, because, as I always say, it takes a community to raise a child, and that's exactly what we've done at Rochester Fight Factory. Every day, my wife pushes me to get into the gym to impact these kids. So she picks up my slack on a lot of things. So we're very busy. I have 2 kids of my own who play sports within the Arundecoy community, and they're all over the place between gymnastics, football, soccer. So while I'm doing the boxing thing, for the most part, she's picking up my slack. Secondly, my partner Q, he does a lot for the kids. Him and I we tag team when we do a good cop, bad cop type of thing back there. And without him, this gym wouldn't be as successful as it was, because I'm also involved in the professional sport of boxing, to where when I'm away, he's running the facility. He's coming up with some of the exercises for these kids to get pushed, and we just make a great team. Lastly, I like to thank the parents, because if the parents wouldn't bring the kids to us, we wouldn't have the opportunity to work with the kids. All these kids here you see here today are ranked within the top 10 of the country. We're using the form of boxing to produce better citizens and just public in general. And our main mission is to take these kids and reach out to them through the sport of boxing, knock on their heads a little bit to produce better citizens, right? And right here you're witnessing that our program is working. We brought 12 kids down to the National Silver Gloves, and 12 kids are ranked in the top 10 in the country right from here in our community. And it's not just Arundecoy. We have kids come from all over. We have kids come from Greece. We have kids come from Arundecoy, Webster. We even have people drive in from Mount Morris just to come train at our facility. We're working on other programs. We just started a program called READ, which is Regional Education and Athletic Development, which will be focusing on trades. And hopefully that we can do a better outreach to the youth, to where we can place them in other programs, not just boxing. And the main focus, like he says here, is discipline. Taking the sport of boxing and just producing these kids to be more productive citizens behind disciplines of boxing. Like I said, I just would like to thank you guys all for showing up, and little message to the police back there. Thank you for your service. I know it gets rough out there with all the stuff going on. We appreciate your service as well. If you guys run into a kid that didn't do something too bad, bring them to us, right? Don't take them to jail. Bring them to us. We'll get them on the right path. Thank you.
Before I say anything, got something to say. Q still owes me a cheesecake, so everybody get on him. He owes me a cheesecake for winning, but we're not gonna get on that right now. It's an honor to. But I don't know what to say. To be honest, it's just an honor to be here. It is. I'm a little nervous, but I want to shout out my team first. TJ, thank you for being in my corner.
Imagine when you win gold.
I just want to thank all y'all for y'all support. Because without them, I won't be who I am. You know, it's an honor to have TJ and Q in my corner. Because without them, I wouldn't even have the chance to make it to where I am today. And I just want to thank the town of Arundecoy for being here for me. I want to thank my friends and my family who's out here for being there for me and believing in me to do it who I am today, to become who I am today. But other than that, thank you, and y'all keep your heads up and do what y'all got to do to get out of this city. Yeah.
What I'm going to ask is we have one more special presentation, and I think a lot of our guests probably don't intend to stay for the meeting, so I just ask folks to sit tight. We have a nice, very special swearing-in ceremony for a new lieutenant in our police department. So with that, I'm going to invite Chief Tantillo up to take over the proceedings.
Thank you very much, Mr. Supervisor, and thank you very much for those in attendance. It's a very special evening for us tonight as we join Mark Jeske and his family in recognizing his accomplishment for achieving the rank of police lieutenant within the Irondequoit Police Department. That is the third highest rank within our organization, and Mark has done an exceptional job for us. Just a little bit of background. Mark is very much invested in the Irondequoit community. Ridge Cover Fire Explorer, right? I couldn't forget that, absolutely. So his dedication to service has been there for many, many years. He's been a police officer since the year 2000, and he joined the Irondequoit Police Department in 2006. He was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2012, and here we are in 2018. We're in increments of 6, Lieutenant. So perhaps you'll be the chief in 2024. I don't know. During that time, he has supervised the road patrol. He's worked every platoon associated with our organization. He's also assisted with property recovery and property reporting systems. He's a member of our very coveted Honor Guard. He supervises the ATV unit. He has assisted with the Irondequoit Bow Hunt or Deer Management Program. He has been a liaison with the local fire service. And he is part of our training unit and a very valuable member of our firearms training unit. So it's a great deal of pleasure through all of his hard work to move forward with this promotional ceremony here tonight.
You know the drill. Repeat after me. I, Mark Jeske,
I, Mark Jeske,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will defend the Constitution
that I will defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the State of New York.
and of the State of New York.
I will enforce all of the laws
I will enforce all the laws
of the State of New York
of the State of New York
and the town of Irondequoit.
and the town of Irondequoit.
I will fulfill the duties
I will fulfill the duties
of the rank of police lieutenant
of the rank of police lieutenant
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I will serve, protect, and guide
I will serve, protect, and guide
the citizens of the town of Irondequoit.
the citizens of the town of Irondequoit.
I will obey all orders, rules, and regulations
I will obey all rules, orders, and regulations
of the Irondequoit Police Department.
of the Irondequoit Police Department.
Lieutenant Jeske, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I know he's not going to let me get away without saying a few words anyway. I am very vested in Irondequoit. I grew up in this town. From the time I knew I was old enough to know what I wanted to do, I knew I wanted to be one of these guys. I wanted to be an Irondequoit police officer. Took many years of trying, a couple different states and a couple different departments. But 12 years ago, I finally got my shot and ended up in the town of Irondequoit, and I couldn't be happier. So I want to thank Supervisor Seeley, Town Board, Chief Tantel, Captain Bean, my wife for putting up with the hardships of me coming home venting about my frustrations at time, along with my parents and my family. So looking forward to this new opportunity and down the road as it takes us. Thank you.
Okay, so, we're certainly flattered if folks want to stay for the duration of the meeting, but if it wasn't your intent, you're welcome to leave now. We just ask, we have town business to conduct, so the noise does carry in here, so if you are leaving, it's a nice night outside. Just try not to congregate or make too much noise outside. But thank you all for being here. It's so nice to see people in this room, and it's so nice to celebrate the many great gifts we have in this community, so thank you. Bye, guys.
Taking care of things up here.
Scouts are gonna hang with us. Very responsible. Oh, yeah. 2 minutes. Yeah, right.
Go right into it.
Oh, I know.
You want to go right into public hearing?
We got 3 minutes, we can, Madam Clerk, can we move to approval of minutes, please? Thank you.
Approval of minutes, January 1st, 2018, the organizational meeting.
Motion?
Moved.
A second?
Second.
Any comments or revision? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed? Minutes are approved.
January 9th, 2018, the workshop meeting.
Motion?
Moved.
In a second?
Second.
Questions, comments, revisions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Minutes are approved.
January 16, 2018, the regular town board meeting.
Motion?
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
Any questions, comments, or revisions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The minutes are approved. Are now going to, can I start public hearing? Okay. What I'm gonna do before opening the public hearing, I'm gonna ask, Ms. Ivers to comment on the proposed law, and as well as, some technical revisions that have been made since its introduction last month. So, Ms. Ivers, please.
Thank you, Supervisor. As noted and as introduced at last month's meeting, there's a proposed local law to amend Chapter 26 of the Town Code, formerly known as the Tourism and Resort Redevelopment District. The first most noticeable change would be the change to the district name, which we're proposing to be Ridge Road Plan Development District. The legislative intent of the district remains very much similar and intact to its predecessor. However, because that district was designed for a very specific redevelopment plan that was contemplated 10 years ago or more, it was determined that it was maybe too specific. And now, in light of the current status of the mall, its more broad redevelopment potential, that the district should be modified to reflect that flexibility and flexible space. And so the local law goes through and makes some changes. Most notably, there was previously a standalone master plan document that outlined a lot of the design requirements, bulk, setbacks, and design elements of redevelopment or new development in that area. We've decided to take the elements, those those kinds of elements, eliminate the master plan as a separate document and embed them into the code language itself. And so that's by and large what you see in this new revised code. It also took a look at some of the allowed uses and made some modifications. As far as changes, this draft amendment was released to the public last month when this public hearing was called. Subsequent to that, the draft amendment was actually circulated to the planning board for their review and their report. And in their review, they made some recommendations for some slight modifications or wording changes to either help mostly clarify limitations or the intent of redevelopment or new development in the district. And so that new revise, those technical changes are reflected in a change tracked document that's been published to the website. It's also been circulated to the town board members electronically, and it's in hard copy form as well. It would be made available in print at the town hall, up in the building department or planning and zoning department, and certainly down the town clerk's office as well. A lot of the changes were just either to clarify the permitted uses or to set limits to things that might not otherwise might be too broad in terms of allowable square footage of signs and things of that nature.
Thank you. Thanks. Any questions for Carrie? I'm actually going to make a motion to open the public hearing, and then we can ask questions of Carrie if we so desire. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The hearing is open. Any questions for Ms. Ivers? A lot of the amendments were technical, and I'll just make a note, we are not moving to adopt the law tonight. We are going to continue to take public comment, both through the hearing, if that presents itself, as well as in the interim period between now and likely next month. It is my anticipation that next month I will call for a final vote on this proposed amendment to our zoning law. With that, public hearing is open. If anyone in the audience, we don't have anyone signed up, but if anyone wishes to address the board on this particular topic, the proposed local law, they're welcome to come forward. I see our scouts debating whether or not they want to. All right. Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
I'm sorry, oh, excuse me, I'm actually gonna make a motion to keep the public hearing open. Do I need to do that through a motion? Okay, so we're gonna keep the public hearing open so we don't have to reopen it next month. We'll welcome comment and we'll have it open, and then we'll likely move to adopt at the end of next month's meeting. So with that, we will now move on to public input. We have one person signed up for public input. However, if you did not sign up and wish to address the board on any particular topic, you're welcome to do so after the individual who signed up states his public input. Generally, we ask people to keep their comments between 3 and 5 minutes, and as we have a lot on our agenda tonight. However, we certainly always welcome input. So with that, I will ask, I believe it's Vance Edwards, to come forward, who has signed up. If you don't mind, sir, please just say your name and address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Vance Edwards. I represent my in-laws at 135 Ridgewood Drive in Rochester, New York. We have a small problem we'd like to hopefully get some assistance with. I didn't know how many people were going to be here. I have 3 documents that I'd like to pass out.
Why don't you give them to the clerk? Generally, the clerk receives the documents, and she'll make them available for us all.
Complete detail is contained within the documents. I'm going to give you just a brief overview, and hopefully you can research the documents and get the specifics of what our concern is. My in-laws live at 135 Ridgewood Drive, Henry and Sarah Moran. Basically, we have a problem with a tree that's on private property. That tree is leaning. It's a large tree. It's a pine tree. And our fear is that tree is going to fall on their property. It's going to fall on the kids. It's going to fall on them. It's going to fall on their garage. We're going to have a lot of property damage. More so, we're very concerned that we're actually going to have somebody that's actually going to get physically injured or potentially die. We've exhausted all efforts. I've had conversations with the town of Arundecoit, multiple conversations trying to find out what you guys can do. We've had the sheriff involved, trying to find out if the sheriff can provide any legal assistance. We've tried to contact them ourselves. My father-in-law made contact with them last spring, and we thought the problem was going to get addressed, but we believe that the owner moved out of town, even though we think his son still occupies the property. We haven't been able to contact anybody in the property to get assistance. I guess the final draw for us was that we contacted a lawyer. The lawyer gave us or explained to us what our rights were, and he typed up a letter and he put them on notice of the concern that we had with the tree, and we asked them to address the tree. That happened in early December. We've not had any response back, and I believe that there is no ordinance in the town of Arundecoit that would help us with this. And so what I'm asking you for, can you please look at the documentation that we have provided? We are asking you to create an ordinance to help us solve this problem before somebody gets injured. I'm not talking about violence from us. I'm talking about before somebody gets injured when this tree comes falling down. The tree is leaning. There's a picture there. You'll see it. We understand we can't do anything with it. We had an estimate on how much it is to cut the tree down. They provided that estimate to us. Unfortunately, I don't have it here with me tonight. We understand that we can't do anything with the estimate. We can't go on the property. We can't cut the tree down. We were advised even not to make any modifications to the portion of the tree that's hanging over in the property, because we could make things worse by doing that, and then we bear responsibility. So I'm asking you to take a look at the documentation and see if there's any help you can provide.
Thank you, and I assume your contact information is on what you presented to Ms. Janier?
Yes, it is.
I will be happy to have someone from my staff follow up with you, if not tomorrow, by the end of the week, and hopefully we can find at least look at the case on our end, see what our engagement's been thus far, but either way, we'll be getting back to you in short order.
Thank you very much. I put my telephone number on there. The address is actually the address of my mother-in-law.
Gotcha.
All right?
Very good.
Thank you very much.
sir.
I appreciate your time.
Of course. Thank you. Anybody else in the audience wish to address the board in public input? Okay. With that, we'll move on to the financial report. Madam Comptroller?
Thank you. In this first report, I am presenting a preliminary look at the 2017 financial results for the town as of December 31st. The 2017 books will not close until the end of February, so as to allow for receipt and processing of outstanding commitments and to account for and properly book the remaining revenue that is owed to the town. Again, at the March Town Board meeting, I will present the most current 2017 preliminary results along with the February 2018 monthly financial report. At the June Town Board meeting, the town's auditors from the Bonadeo Group will present highlights of the audited 2017 financial statements and audit report. The 2017 financial results, the preliminary 2017 financial results for the town. Total expenditures and encumbrances are $38,169,000, higher than the annual budget at 111.8%. Actual expenditures are $37,488,000. Encumbrances are an additional $681,000. Included in the $38.2 million total is approximately $4.2 million of fire-related expenditures. $4,019,000 is actual fire expenditures and $230,000 is encumbered. Without the fire-related expenses, the town would be favorable at 99.4% of budget, or $33,920,000. The fire-related cost of $4.2 million breakdown as follows. Highway, $1.9 million, general fund, $1.5 million, sewer fund, $0.9 million, storm drainage, $14,000. General fund expenses are $21,839,000, or 109.2% of the annual budget. The actual expenditures are $21,325,000 and encumbrances $514,000. The general fund, as I mentioned earlier, includes approximately $1.5 million of fire-related expenses. Included are demolition costs and expenses of the temporary DPW structure. If those expenses were excluded, the fund would be slightly unfavorable, only slightly unfavorable, at 101.7% of budget. Included in the general fund are costs associated with several veteran police officers retiring during the year. In aggregate, the highway expenses are $7,264,000, which is greater than the annual budget at 128.2%. Prominent expenses during the year were as expected: gas, fuel, and asphalt in Highway 1, equipment parts and installment debt in Highway 3, and salt in Highway 4. Encumbered and actual fire-related expenses are $1.9 million. Exclusive of those expenses, the highway funds would be favorable at 95.1% of budget. Other significant funds: the total library expenditures of $2,349,000 are currently below budget at 98.2%. The sewer fund has expended 116.3% of budget in the amount of $4,848,000. $870,000 is fire-related. The fund would be favorable at 95.5% if fire expenses were excluded. Stormwater drainage is currently at 94.6% of budget, a total of $741,000. Included is $14,000 of fire-related costs, so the non-fire-related expenses equate to 92.9% of budget. The preliminary general fund revenue for the year is 103.4% of budget, a total of $20,469,000, $10.6 million of tax revenue, and $196,000 of pilot payments. Payment in lieu of taxes, pilot. Also received and included in this report is 8 months of sales tax, totaling $2,830,000, 69.5% of budget. With accruals, we have booked a full year of mortgage tax equal to $855,000. That's 109.6% of that line item budget. We've also accrued and we've received and accrued $739,000, or 101.6% of franchise cable TV revenue. The complete per capita state aid of $613,000 was received previously, and that amount is the same as budget. Included in the general fund revenue within the other sources of revenue line item is $1,861,000 of insurance recovery. General fund revenue exclusive of fire insurance recovery is $18,608,000, or 94% of budget. Received today and not included in this report is $1.2 million of sales tax revenue for September, October, and November. The accrual for December will be calculated and included in the next report, along with the 1.2 million referenced. With the receipt, if we were to include the sales tax, we would be at budget with what we've received, and we still have another month of revenue to account for. The total town revenue and appropriated fund balance through December equates to $37.3 million, or 110.3%. Included in that amount is $4.8 million of fire insurance recovery. Without the insurance proceeds, The receipts would be $32.5 million, or 96.2% of budget. Real estate taxes across all funds remain at $16.7 million. That was received by the end of February, and that does not change. Year-to-date revenue for the library is $2,383,000, or 99.7% of budget. The highway has recorded 133.7% of revenue, $7.5 million. This includes $1.9 million of fire insurance recovery. Exclusive of the recovery, the fund would be at 98.8% of revenue. Sewer has received $4.9 million, 117.6% of budget. Included in this amount is $811,000 of insurance proceeds. Sewer would be at 98% of budget without those proceeds. Revenue for stormwater drainage is $915,000, 120% of budget. Excluding the $152,000 of insurance recovery, the fund would be at budget at 100%. From this report, you will note that the fire-related revenue exceeds the expenses by $500,000. Fire-related expenses are $4.2 million, and revenue is $4.8 million. So I guess that difference is $600,000. This concludes my preliminary 2017 year-end financial report as of the end of January 31st. So the second report, the 2018 financial results for the town as of January 31. Total expenses, actual as well as encumbered, are $3,675,000, or 10.6% of budget, which is higher than the 8.3% of the year that has elapsed. The breakdown is actual expenditures, $2,189,000, and encumbered expenses, $1,486,000. Encumbrances are typically high early in the year as departments establish and commit to commodities, services, and supplies that will be needed throughout the year. The general fund expenses are above budget at 12.6%, or $2,635,000. The breakdown in that fund, actual expenditures $1,523,000, and encumbrances $1,112,000. As referenced above, the encumbrance includes the annual estimate of more than $200,000 for the 2018 general fund operating account. We have encumbered the amount for the entire year. Together, the expenses in the highway funds are $380,000, or 6.8% of budget, below the percent of the year that has elapsed. The slightly higher than budgeted expenses in Highway 4 result from snow removal overtime labor costs for the month. Expenditures in the library are under budget at $136,000, 5.9% of budget. The sewer fund expenses are 7.2% of budget, $294,000. Expenses in stormwater drainage total $62,000, 7.9% of budget. Those funds are all below budget. The general fund revenue received is $5,463,000, or 26.9% of budget. At the end of January, the town had received $4.7 million of real estate tax, only 43% of budget, as the tax collection period is not complete yet. $82,000 of payment in lieu of tax revenue has been received. That's approximately 49% of that budget. Also included is in revenue are proceeds of the Metley Center settlement of $450,000. Regarding the entire town, $7.8 million, or 22.9% of revenue and appropriated fund balance has been received to date. We have recorded the total appropriated fund balance in this category. Approximately $5.8 million of the amount received is real estate tax. That's 34.4% of that line item. In next month's report, you'll see a big difference in the amount of real estate revenue. At month end, the library had received only $9,000 of its budgeted revenue. The highway has received 1.1 million, and sewer has received 1.2 million. This concludes my financial report for the month of January.
Thanks, Annie, and it's always a thorough report, the first quarter of the year as we're looking back in 2018. Any questions or comments? Certainly, we're conservative on the revenue side, projecting for the end of the year, and we're optimistic we'll be at budget, but, hopefully, us being conservative allows us to be, pleasantly surprised if it comes in more, so we hope that revenue number will be not only at budget, but above budget. But kudos to you and the departments, especially those impacted by Mother Nature and other elements last year, for staying under budget, all things considered. A motion to accept the financial report,
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
If you're in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The financial report is accepted. We can now move on to items for board action. Madam Clerk?
Items for board action. Item number 2, authorizing a settlement agreement.
Motion. Moved. And a second?
Second.
Assessor Mineo, explanation, please.
Yes, this is this is gonna be a resolution, that's, allowing me to enter into a settlement agreement with Home Depot. The settlement agreement is, in this case, is the final step in the grievance process for this property. Commercial properties go through a little bit different, process than residential properties when it comes to grieving their assessments, and here we are, and this will be the final stage for Home Depot.
Thank you, and I'll note the 2017 year shall be reduced from $6,500,000 to $6 million. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 3, authorizing the purchase of 2 2018 pickup trucks to be used by the Bureau of Parks.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Commissioner Kylie, you want to just discuss the next 3 resolutions as one?
Yes, sir, Mr. Supervisor. Before the town board this evening, the next 3 resolutions all deal with the purchases of budgeted equipment within the 2018 budget. The first resolution within the Bureau of Parks is the purchase of 2 Ford F-150s. Within the Bureau of Public Works, the purchase of 1 a Ford pickup truck F-150, and within Public Works as well is the purchase of 1 quad cab dump truck.
Thank you. And these were all budgeted items, Bob?
Yes, sir. We budget these items. These would be financed over a period of 6 years, and at the end of that financing period, we would own the vehicle.
Very good. Any questions or comments? The first resolution germane to the board right now is to authorize the purchase of 2 2018 Ford pickup trucks to be used by the Bureau of Parks. Any questions or comments on that resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 4, authorizing the purchase of 1 2018 pickup truck to be used by the Bureau of Public Works.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. The lowest responsible bid for this 1 pickup truck was $27,308 by Van Bortle Ford. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 5, authorizing the purchase of 1 2018 crew cab pickup truck with dump body to be used by the Bureau of Public Works.
Motion
Moved.
and a second?
Second.
Thank you. This would be a 2018 model year F-350 extra-large crew cab pickup truck, much like the truck Councilman Wayner drives. Lowest responsible bid is $47,552 from Van Bortle Ford. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item
Madam Clerk?
number 6, accepting gifts for Arundequoit's Winterfest celebration.
A motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. Deputy Commissioner Sinton, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This authorizes the town board to formally accept gifts in support of the recent Winterfest. These came in the form of activity supplies and/or funds for activities and supplies from Titus Medical Spa, Portland Titus Office Building, Harris Funeral Home, Majority Leader Joe Morelli, County Legislator Joe Morelli Jr., Laurelton and Ridge Culver Fire Departments, the Arundequoit Police Department, Monroe County Sheriff, and the Home Depot.
Thank you, and we thank all of those for their donations. We could not do it without it. We could do it, it would just cost the taxpayers more money, so we're grateful for those contributions. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 7, authorizing the amendment of town athletic fields rental fee schedule and the establishment of usage guidelines for the town athletic fields.
Motion? Moved. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Before I call on Deputy Commissioner Sinton, just a note, this amendment is derived from a decision the board collectively made during the budget process last year, the end desire being to ultimately make McAvoy Park free of charge for residents. It was noted that over the course of the past decade, the utilization of McAvoy had diminished significantly. We thought perhaps, as it's a park, I think it's always the goal to have parks free, and certainly over the past 15 years, the demand for a turf field has been diluted by the larger supply of turf fields throughout the area. So this will make those fields free of charge for town residents, and I'm not going to ask Mr. Sinton for a little bit more lengthy of an explanation of the entire fee schedule.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So the fields that we're talking about are McAvoy Park, the Arundequoit Ballpark Complex on Kings Highway, the new Camp Eastman Soccer and Lacrosse Fields, Bayer Memorial Park, Joshua Park Soccer and Lacrosse Fields. To make these free of charge for in-town residents and in-town Arundequoit leagues, we had to achieve 3 different steps. The first is we had to amend the existing fee schedule, removing fees for residents and in-town leagues while establishing fees for non-residents and out-of-town leagues at our newer facilities such as the Ballpark Complex and new Camp Eastman Fields. Existing non-resident and out-of-town fees remain unchanged, such as those at McAvoy Park. The second step was to develop usage guidelines for the various athletic fields, particularly how we determine if a group is in town or out of town. After meeting with existing in-town leagues such as Arundequoit Soccer, Lacrosse, and Little League, we developed guidelines that groups will have to meet through an application process. These include that 51% of participants must be Arundequoit residents, adult leagues must submit a roster with a copy of driver's license for all participants, youth leagues must submit rosters with a copy of the address portion of an East or West Arundequoit school report card, That's a policy that our current recreation department uses for the summer camp registration program now. And the league address must be in Arundequoit. The last piece of the guideline speaks to when the concession stands would be open, the use of lights, and security and parking attendants. These were basically unchanged but taken from McAvoy and applied to other appropriate facilities.
Thanks, and that's relevant as we now have a concession stand coming online at the new ballpark complex, and maybe one at Camp Eastman. Maybe, I don't know, crazy, but no, Bob, not for a few years. Don't worry. We have other things to build first.
Card or something.
Yeah. Thank you, Don. Any questions or comments? I think this is a complicated resolution that gets us to a very simple, good thing, the free use of McAvoy Park. And hopefully what we'll see is more people utilizing it, but as the utilization went down, we've also seen lower concession revenue, obviously. So hopefully if more people are there physically, we'll be able to bolster our concession revenue. So it'll have the effect of being a net positive while making the park ultimately free for residents. Questions or comments?
No, thank you. This is a great thing for the community.
Good job.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 8, authorizing the supervisor to enter into an agreement with the Arundequoit Athletic Association for field use at 117 Kings Highway North.
Motion?
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thanks. Don, can you just give a lengthier explanation? Is this was not discussed at workshop, was presented to the board in the interim period.
Sure. So this does authorize you to enter into an agreement with the Arundecoit Athletic Association for field use and maintenance at the Arundecoit Ballpark Complex at 117 Kings Highway. This is actually a renewal of a contract that was passed previously. The contract permits IAA the right of first refusal for scheduling use of the ballpark complex, yet it's non-exclusive, as the town does reserve the right to use the fields or permit use by other groups. I will say, too, that IAA in the past has been very cooperative and flexible with moving games to allow access to the fields by other individuals and groups in town. IAA shall be responsible for capital improvement projects totaling $5,000 per year, maintenance and upkeep of the fields and the concession stand, basic repairs and upkeep of fencing and dugouts, general pickup of the fields and surrounding area, while also removing all garbage on weekends. IAA will also utilize the concession stand to sell concessions at their sole cost and expense. The town will be responsible for mowing of the fields, grooming them as needed, maintaining the parking lot and driveway, cleaning of the restrooms, maintenance of the bleachers, and paying for all utilities. This is a 2-year contract with one more 2-year extension possible.
Thank you, and while, thanks, Don, and while IAA, also known as Arundecoit Little League, is the primary user, there are other leagues that have a right to use, and we've tried to work with them all, given there's a demand for those fields. IAA is the largest utilizer, and this cooperative agreement allows us to share some of the burden of the maintenance of the field, so it's worked out well. Don, this was the term of the initial agreement, just 1 year. Is that why this is necessary?
That's correct. It was 1 year.
Okay, thank you. All right, questions or comments?
And this is renewable to them, should they decide? This is a renewable contract, potentially?
I think
They have
2020.
one more 2-year renewal available.
We would both parties would have to agree to renew it. Right now, it's just a term of 2 years.
2 years.
And that's important for the board to continue to have control over contracts and leasing out of contracts. So contracts can't be too long.
Okay. Okay.
And one quick, Don, do they play anywhere else in town? Obviously, they do.
Yes, they also utilize McAvoy Park as well.
Okay.
Do they use Rudman as well?
They use Rudman occasionally, sometimes for practice, but like I had stated, they've been very flexible with opening up the Kings Highway fields for other groups to use as well.
Well, it'd be nice to see them out there in April.
Yeah, sure.
We've made some nice enhancements last year, so it's more of a complete ball field. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 9, authorizing capital lease financing agreement with Key Government Finance Incorporated for 2 track-mounted sidewalk plows and 1 6-wheel truck with plow for the Bureau of Public Works.
Motion
Moves?
and a second?
Second.
Thanks. At last week's workshop meeting, the town board authorized the comptroller and the supervisor to negotiate terms of a lease, and this formalizes that lease agreement for these vehicles. And I will just note, Madam Clerk, please amend the second to last whereas statement. The section of New York local finance law, instead of a 32, that should be a 28. And with that, any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 10, authorizing the Justice Court to accept a grant from New York State in the amount of $30,000 for expansion of court office facilities and approve the necessary budget amendment.
Motion
Moved.
and a second?
Second.
Mr. Mary, an explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The resolution seeks authorization from the board to accept a grant of $30,000 from the New York State Unified Court System for improvements to the public access areas of the
David,
town courts.
do you mind just speaking into the mic a little more?
Sorry, I didn't realize you couldn't. I'll start again. The resolution seeks authorization from the board to accept a grant of $30,000 from the New York State Unified Court System for improvements to the public access areas of the town courts facility, specifically the courtroom and the gallery spaces behind it.
Thank you, and this is the second year we pursued this grant funding, and I believe this is the maximum award you can receive?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so good stuff, and long overdue. It'd be nice to give the courts a facelift. I know the not a facelift, a makeover. I know maybe a facelift too, but I know their 3 town justices are very excited, so, little modernization of that, facility, which is used, I believe, even tonight. But a lot of people come into that, and we wanna make sure it's, putting our best foot forward as far as, the appearance. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 11, authorizing the hiring of a recreation assistant.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Vinette, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution is to hire a recreation assistant. There's a vacancy in the department due to a resignation in December, and they decided to do a little reorganization in the department, and those duties will be split. I will let the department speak about the person they selected.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vinette. Mr. Supervisor, we're very proud to put forth the name of Megan Hoffman. Megan's a 17-year employee of the town. She's a rec assistant part-time for us. She currently handles our rec registration, our rec track program. She assists with special events for the rec department and supervises our summer camp and playground program. In making her full-time, she would assume the responsibility of preparing and submitting resolutions pertaining to the Recreation Department, preparing and coordinating and tracking bids and quotes needed in support of the Recreation Department, and she'll work with the Recreation Supervisor to book all musical entertainment for the Farmers Market and Sunday Gazebo series.
Thank you. Very happy to support this tonight. Megan, first of all, I'm not biased, but I think we do a terrific job in recreation, and it's only gotten better, I think, in the past several years. And obviously, much of that has to do with certainly Katrina, our recreation supervisor, and Don and Bob, kind of a broader oversight. But if you are a parent dropping your kid off, whether it's whatever camp, chances are you're going to see Megan there overseeing the chaos. But she really does an exceptional job. So I'm very happy that we're adopting this tonight, and Megan is one of our rock stars in our recreation department, so we're congratulate you on this. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Ms. Hoffman, please stand up as we clap for you. You're lucky too, because a lot of times those happen at the end of the meeting. That was in the middle of the meeting, so I don't know how they snuck that one by me. But congratulations, Megan.
Item number 12, calling for a public hearing authorizing a no U-turn zone in the Hellendale Road Primary School Zone from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on school days.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thanks, John. Chief, explanation?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Based upon a traffic assessment that was conducted by the Arundecoy Police Department, along with conversations and feedback with school officials, transportation providers, and our school crossing guards, we felt as though that it was important to move forward with this resolution and subsequently the public hearing in order to enhance the safety of the children going to and from school within that facility.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments? As someone who drives by that school during those times, at least in the morning daily, I certainly support this and recognize the need. And with that, I'm happy to support it. Any questions or comments?
If you forget your wallet, don't you turn?
It's true. Words to live by. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 13, authorizing the removal of a traffic control device stop sign on Oak Ridge Drive, northbound and southbound at Tulip Tree Lane, and the placement of traffic control devices on Oak Ridge Drive, northbound and southbound at Edgewater Lane and Edgewater Lane eastbound at Oak Ridge Drive.
Madam Clerk, please take a sip of water. Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Chief, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Based upon feedback from the neighborhood and the assessment of our personnel that patrol that particular area, our recommendation in order to move traffic through that corridor in a safer manner is to remove the stop sign that currently exists on Oak Ridge at Tulip Tree Lane and replace that with a stop sign on Oak Ridge at Edgewater Lane. and then subsequently adding a stop sign on Edgewater for eastbound traffic, creating a three-way stop at that particular intersection.
Thanks, Chief. And this was initially, I think, derived, but I think there was a further assessment of conversation throughout, I think, 2016 with the neighborhood over originally whether or not sidewalks would be installed, but obviously this was kind of came out this as an alternative and best placement of traffic safety devices, correct?
That's correct.
And my understanding is, and I know the neighborhood because I grew up in it, but they're not too far apart, correct? The one we're replacing is only probably maybe a couple hundred yards away from the one that'll be the new one.
That's correct. With the assistance of the Department of Public Works, there's a 650-foot difference.
Okay, that's about 2 football fields. Okay, any questions or comments? And I know we did notify the neighborhood association. We've tried to work collaboratively with them. I think we've also taken some measures as far as ensuring the right-of-ways aren't obstructed with brush, and we'll continue to do it, just recognizing Oak Ridge is a unique road, and we want to make sure it's safe. But I'm happy to do this just because I know a lot of kids, the few kids that do walk to Colebrook, Iroquois, I know are utilizing Edgewater, so it just makes more sense given Tulip Tree is a dead end. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 14, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Ballard King and Associates Limited and an appropriate transfer of funds.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. This would amend the existing contract with Ballard King, who is currently conducting a financial and managerial analysis for the operation of a future community center. It's a slight amendment to the contract to allow the project manager to come and present the findings next month to the board. We felt it important for him to do so in a public meeting. He is out of town. A lot of this exercise is a tabletop exercise using data, et cetera. He was here last month for a few days meeting with staff and other stakeholders, but we wanted to have him physically here to present to the board and allow us to answer any questions. This will amend the contract $2,000. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item
I'm
number
actually going to now
15.
call on Councilman Weiner for a introduction.
Thank you, Supervisor. Pursuant to Section 1662-A of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, I introduce the following draft local law to amend Article 2 and Article 6 of Chapters 222 of the Town Code relating to speed limits.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The proposed law is introduced. Madam Clerk, please call the resolution.
Item number 15, calling for a public hearing on a proposed local law to amend Article 2 and Article 6 of Chapter 222 of the Code of the Town of Arundequoit.
Motion?
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. This is probably one of the more omnibus laws we've done over the past several years. It's a long-standing discussion we've had about speed in town on town roads and county roads. In the broadest sense, the intent of this law would lower the town speed limit to 30 miles per hour from 35. So right now, the default town speed limit on roads is 35. And if it's not 35, it has to be really adopted by the board. It can be, now that doesn't pertain to county roads because traditionally the county is, or working with the town has set the speed limits. But any time in the past we wanted to lower a speed limit of a road, Cottonwood Lane comes to mind recently, a town board resolution is required. This would change that default town speed limit to 30 miles per hour. And that would also default, it would be on county roads as well, with a few exceptions. The primary roads, St. Paul, East Ridge Road, and Culver Road, with the exception of the very northern parts of those roads, which would be 30 miles per hour. All other roads in the town would be 30 miles per hour or lower. This also takes a hard look, comprehensive look at the road, the speed limits on town roadways particularly, by our schools throughout town, and makes a number of amendments to town code to lower those speed limits to 25 miles per hour. So if you take, for instance, Colebrook Road, Colebrook and Iroquois School, this would amend Washington Avenue would now be 25 miles per hour, which Councilman Protocone, who lives on Washington Avenue, drives 15 already, so that won't be a change. It would also make all of Colebrook 25 miles per hour. It would make Cinnabar 25. It would make Shorewood. All the roads around those campuses 25 miles per hour. The same pertains to, with I think one or two exceptions, every school in the town. So really looking to control school in those towns. Most of those schools, at least on the road that the school is located on, has a school speed limit. So during school hours, there's a reduced speed limit. Right now that's at 25. That would be reduced to 20 miles per hour. So the overall goal of this is to reduce speed on town roads for a number of reasons. The primary reason in my eyes is public safety. I will note we have adopted an active transportation plan a few years ago. Certainly this is conducive with the goal of allowing for more passive and active forms of transportation in town. But at the end of the day, it's really with the kids in mind. We have probably close to 1,000 kids, maybe more, that are walking to school on a given day. Maybe not that many, but it's several hundred. And we want to make sure that they are safe. And I think this takes a comprehensive look. And it's not a new concept. Several years ago, the town had supported going to 25 miles per hour. There's certain state laws that make that, I don't want to say cost prohibitive, but difficult to do. Many of our fellow suburbs are already at 30, if not lower. If you go to the town of Brighton, most town roads in Brighton are at 25 because their town code lists them and identifies them at 25 miles per hour. So we're going to go at 30, and we're going to set the roads by the schools at 25. And this will set a public hearing for next month. And we certainly welcome feedback from all stakeholders, whether it's parents, students, teachers, principals, law enforcement. At the end of the day, we just want to make sure that we're making our roads safe for motorists and pedestrians of all ages. So any questions or comments on calling the hearing?
I'm glad we're doing it. Yes.
Very good.
And, okay, so the hearing will be set for next month's regular town board meeting, which is March 20th, at 7:35 PM. And we will do our best also to educate and make sure people are aware of these proposed changes, which hopefully will become permanent changes. With that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 16, authorizing the supervisor to sign an amended agreement with the deputy attorney to the town for planning and zoning.
Motion?
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. This would make some changes to the contract with our deputy town attorney, Nixon Peabody, who has served in that capacity as deputy attorney for planning and zoning since 2014. It makes some slight adjustments to the fee schedule, which will likely have a nominal impact on the budget overall, but we felt it necessary time and again to review these contracts, and this was the consensus that we arrived at. And the board members were given that contract for review at last week's board meeting. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 17, authorizing the supervisor to enter into an agreement for a teen senior exposition.
Motion?
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. This would allow us to hold the senior exposition on April 19, 2018, from 9 to 12 p.m. It is an agreement, and allows us to enter into agreement with St. Kateri Tekakwitha Parish to use the St. Cecilia's Newcomb Friendship Center for this event. It's a great event. It was terrific last year, and hopefully it'll be even better this year. And just excited about it. Questions or comments? There are none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 18, approving the special event license for Shamrock Jack's Restaurant to conduct their annual St. Patrick's Day Festival.
Motion?
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, can I make a suggestion? Next year, we get this resolution every year. Can you print it on green paper?
Oh, why didn't I think of that?
I know. Okay, so this is an annual event that Shamrock Jacks holds their St. Patrick's Day Festival. I believe it allows a tent and a special event license to go up, or special event permit, and it's an exciting event. And certainly, we encourage people to sample all outlets of Irish culture throughout March, and not just Shamrock Jacks, but O'Loughlin's, Murph's. If I'm missing an Irish bar, may God strike me down. But any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 19, approving the special event license for the Heritage Hero 5K and Mile Stroll and Roll.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. I believe this is a new race.
Yes,
Okay,
it's a
so
new,
we have several of these 2-mile 5K races throughout the year. This is a new one. Heritage Christian Services, a terrific not-for-profit in the greater Rochester area, will be holding a race on September 8th, 2018. So they are well early with their paperwork, which I love. But any questions or comments?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
item number 20, approving the special event license for Friends of the Arundequoit Public Library Trunk Treasures and Craft Festival.
Motion? Moved. And a second.
Second.
This is one of our great annual events. I talked earlier about some of our traditions, and this is a great one. It's the Friends of the Arundequoit Library holding their annual Trunk Treasures event and craft festival. It'll be held on the Town Hall campus, I believe, yes, on the Town Hall campus, Saturday, May 19th, 2018, from 10 to 3 p.m., and it's a great event. Yes, I would be just on that Saturday. So we encourage people to come, and certainly, hopefully, the Friends will be in next month to promote it, and they do terrific work, and it directly supports programming at the library, and we're grateful for them. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 21, approving the special event license for the Sunset House 16th Annual 5K Run and Fitness Walk.
Motion?
Move.
And a second?
Second.
So we'll end with another resolution of just a great organization doing terrific stuff for our community. The Sunset House 5K Walk and Run goes, I believe, around the Titus Cooper neighborhood. It will be held on May 16th, 9 a.m., starting at the Arundequoit United Church of Christ on Titus Avenue. And encourage people to support them, participate, or just come on and root the runners on. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Thank you to our scouts for staying for the duration. I don't see anybody sleeping, which is good. You got a nice variety of topics, ranging from speed limits to lease agreements on pickup trucks. So we certainly do a variety of things in our meetings. So I hope you enjoyed it. But thank you for being here, and we appreciate you presenting the colors. Next town board workshop meeting will be Tuesday, March 13th at 4 p.m. here in the Broderick Meeting Room at Town Hall. Our next regular town board meeting will be Tuesday, March 20th, 2018 at 7 p.m. I will now take a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Arundequoit Town Board on ICAT 12, Arundequoit's government access channel.